In this video we're going to do a quick quiz on what we've done so far on chemistry calculations. So for the first one we're going to work out some molar masses. So the idea of this little part is to work out the molar mass of each of those substances. The molar mass is the same as the relative molecular mass, relative formula mass in terms of how you would do it. So give that a go, and on the next slide you will get the answers. So if you want to have some time to pause it, get yourself a periodic table to work those out, and then coming up any minute now we will go through the answers. So here are the answers. So press pause if you don't want to hear them quite yet. So let's go through these. So the first one is sodium sulfate. So I've got two sodiums, and sodium has a relative atomic mass of 23, one sulfur at 32, and then 4 oxygens, and each oxygen has a relative atomic mass of 16. So add them all together, you should get to 142. KMnO4, potassium 39, manganese 55, and then again 4 oxygens comes to 158. Aluminium sulfate. So we've got 2 aluminiums there, but remember you've got that sulfate SO4 in the brackets, and you've got 3 of them, so it means you've got 3 sulfurs and 12 oxygens. So add those all together and you get to 342. And then finally you've got hydrated copper sulfate. So hydrated copper sulfate is going to be 1 copper at 63.5, and a sulfur at 32, and 4 oxygens at 16, and then you have 5 waters. Water is of course made up of 1 oxygen at 16 and 2 hydrogens, each at 1, to give you each water having a relative molecular mass of 18. I've got 5 of those, add them all together and you get 249.5. So now we're going to do some slightly more complicated questions. We need to calculate the number of moles of material in those 3 substances. Now what I'd recommend you do again is give it a go. So pause it and see how far you get. On the next page coming up will be a little hint. So if you're not sure how to start or what to do, here's a little hint coming up now. So here is your hint. If you need to find the number of moles, you need to use the equation of mass, which you've been given, divided by the relative molecular mass. So hopefully you've got a bit more of an idea of what to do. So pause now, and the answers are coming up. So in order to use the equation of moles equals mass divided by the relative formula mass or relative molecular mass, I need to work out the relative molecular mass or relative formula mass. So those I've done there are exactly the same as the previous example. So I've now got my molar masses, and now I'm going to work out the answers to those. So here we go. The number of moles is going to be the mass divided by the molar mass. So for silver nitrate, it's 1.435 divided by 169.9, and so on, ammonium chloride and ammonium sulfate. And if you do that, you get those results there. Final set of questions then. We now need to calculate the mass of material in those substances, and they've now given us the moles. As with the other one, a little hint is coming up on the next slide. So pause now if you know what you're going to do. If not, here's the hint. So your hint for this one is we've got to rearrange that equation, and now the mass is equal to the number of moles times the relative molecular mass. So again, the first thing we need to do is find the relative molecular mass. So pause now if you haven't quite got those answers. So I'm now going to go through those answers. First of all, let's show the relative formula mass for those substances. There you go. Hopefully you managed to get those okay. And here we go with the final answers. What we're going to do is times those number of moles by the relative formula mass that I've just worked out. And when we do that for each one, we get those answers there. So I hope you found those examples helpful. Just to check your understanding at this stage, that we have an understanding of how to use that equation of moles equals mass divided by the relative formula mass, or relative atomic mass, whatever one you're dealing with at that time. Because on the next one, we're going to move on to how we deal with gases. These resources, so you can download a copy of this if you would like to. It's available if you go to my website and just go to the resources section, and you will be able to download a copy of this set of slides.